There are places winter visits. And then there is Patagonia, where glaciers the size of cities calve into turquoise fjords with the sound of thunder, where winds scream across a steppe so vast it seems to curve beyond the horizon, where gauchos still drive cattle across frozen valleys using methods unchanged for centuries. This is the end of the world, not metaphorically, geographically, the southernmost edge of the Americas, where the Andes collapse into the sea, where the Pacific and Atlantic collide in waters that have swallowed more ships than storms can count. For 6 months every year, winter claims this land. Temperatures plunge. Snow blankets mountains that soar from ocean to sky in a single brutal ascent. Glaciers, remnants of ice ages, continue their ancient march toward extinction, carving landscapes as they retreat. And through it all, life persists. Guanacos graze on frozen grass. Pumas hunt through valleys draped in white. Gauchos wake before dawn to tend herds in conditions that would paralyze most of humanity. This is Patagonia in winter, where an entire region refuses to surrender to cold, where traditions forged in hardship endure despite a changing climate, where beauty and brutality wear the same face. Welcome to the last frontier, where winter doesn't just arrive, it reigns absolute. Patagonia begins where the world runs out of land. Stretching across the southern cone of South America, shared by Argentina and Chile, it covers over 1 million square kilometers of mountains, steppe, glaciers, and coastline. To the west, the Andes rise like a wall. Peaks that scrape 4,000 meters pierce clouds that roll in from the Pacific, delivering snow measured not in centimeters but in meters. To the east, the steppe spreads endless and empty. Grass and scrub beneath a sky so vast it feels oppressive in its emptiness. And between them, the collision creates weather unlike anywhere else on Earth. Pacific storms slam into mountains and dump their moisture on Chilean slopes. By the time those winds cross into Argentina, they're dry, furious, and relentless. Wind speeds routinely exceed 100 kilometers per hour. Gusts strong enough to knock a person off their feet are not exceptional, they're expected. Winter intensifies everything. Daylight shrinks to 8 hours. Temperatures drop well below freezing. Snow that falls in May won't melt until November. The coast transforms into a theater of ice and violence. Waves crash against cliffs with force that shakes the ground. Glaciers meet the sea and calve icebergs the size of buildings into fjords that glow impossible shades of blue. Inland, the steppe becomes a frozen desert. Precipitation is scarce, less than 200 millimeters annually in some areas. But what falls, stays. Snow accumulates. Wind sculpts it into drifts that bury fences and reshape the landscape overnight. This is not a place designed for human comfort. It's a place that demands adaptation or delivers death. And yet, people have lived here for thousands of years. Patagonia's glaciers are not relics. They're active, alive, moving. The Patagonian ice fields, northern and southern, are the largest expanse of ice in the southern hemisphere outside Antarctica. They feed dozens of outlet glaciers that flow from mountains toward lakes and oceans, carving valleys, shaping coastlines, creating the landscapes that define this region. Perito Moreno Glacier, one of the few advancing glaciers left on Earth. Its face towers 70 meters above Lago Argentino, a wall of ice that cracks and groans and collapses with apocalyptic regularity. When a chunk of ice breaks free, calving, they call it, the sound echoes for kilometers. A rumble like distant thunder. Then the crash as tons of ice hit water. Waves surge. Tourists on viewing platforms half a kilometer away feel the impact. Gray Glacier flows from the southern Patagonian ice field into a lake filled with icebergs. Blue ice, compressed over centuries until it's absorbed every color but blue, drifts like sculptures carved by gods with infinite patience. UPS Glacier retreats faster than almost any glacier on the planet. Scientists measure its shrinkage in meters per year. What took millennia to form is disappearing in decades. The glaciers bleed, not metaphorically. Meltwater streams from their faces, carrying sediment that turns rivers milky white. Glacial flour, they call it, rock ground so fine it remains suspended in water, creating colors found nowhere else in nature. These glaciers are thermometers, measuring climate change not in data but in cubic kilometers of ice lost annually. And winter, paradoxically, is when they're most beautiful, when fresh snow covers crevasses and seracs, when blue ice glows under weak winter sun, when the only sounds are wind and the occasional crack of ice settling under its own immense weight. In Patagonia, wind is not weather, it's geography. The region sits at latitudes where westerly winds, the roaring 40s and furious 50s, circle the globe with nothing to slow them. No continents, no mountain ranges, just ocean and air moving at speeds that would classify as storms anywhere else. When those winds hit Patagonia, they funnel through valleys and accelerate over plains and strike with force that shapes everything. Trees grow sideways, leaning east, permanently bent by winds that blow from the west with such consistency that vegetation adapts or dies. Buildings are built low, roofs are anchored with cables, windows face away from prevailing winds because glass shatters under sustained gusts. People walk leaning forward, not from effort but from necessity. Stand upright and the wind pushes you backward. Children learn to brace before opening doors because wind can rip a door from hinges. And in winter, wind becomes weapon. Wind chill drops temperatures to levels that freeze exposed skin in minutes. A calm day at -5 feels manageable. Add 50-kilometer winds and it feels like -20. Snow doesn't fall vertically, it flies horizontally. Whiteouts occur not from heavy snowfall but from wind picking up snow already on the ground and hurling it through the air with such force that visibility drops to zero. Gauchos check wind before checking temperature, because wind determines whether they can work, whether they can move livestock, whether they can survive outdoors for the hours their labor demands. There are days when the wind is so strong that even the toughest stay inside. Those are the days Patagonia reminds you who's in charge. The gaucho is not costume, not performance, not nostalgia. He is function, born from necessity in a land that breaks the soft. For over 2 centuries, gauchos have been the soul of Patagonia. Horsemen, herders, guides, survivors. They emerged in the 18th century as nomadic cattle drivers who lived entirely off the land. No fixed homes, no allegiance except to freedom. They moved with the herds, sleeping under stars, cooking over open fires, answering to no one. Governments tried to tame them, failed. Landowners tried to employ them, succeeded, but only partially. The gaucho's spirit, independent, proud, resilient, never fully bent to civilization's demands. Today, that spirit endures in the men and women who still work Patagonia's estancias. The work hasn't changed much. Wake before dawn, dress in layers, wool against skin, bombachas that allow movement on horseback, ponchos thick enough to shed wind and snow, boots with silver spurs that jingle with every step. Saddle the horse, not for leisure, for necessity. In Patagonia's vast terrain, a horse is the only reliable transport. Vehicles break down, roads disappear under snow, but a criollo horse, hardy, sure-footed, adapted to this environment, can navigate terrain that would kill other breeds. The gaucho and horse move as one, decades of partnership distilled into instinct. The horse knows the land, gaucho knows the herd. Together, they perform work that technology still can't replicate. Herding sheep across frozen valleys, counting cattle in conditions where visibility measures in meters, repairing fences in wind that tears at clothing and numbs fingers even through gloves. This is not romantic, this is labor, brutal, necessary, relentless. And in winter, it becomes survival. Once a year, estancias hold La Hierra, the gathering, Cattle and sheep are brought in from far pastures, counted, branded, vaccinated, castrated, dehorned. It's brutal work, necessary work. The work that sustains life in a place where supermarkets don't exist and supply chains end hundreds of kilometers away. Gauchos arrive from neighboring estancias. Families who haven't seen each other in months reunite. The work becomes communal. Shared labor, shared meals, shared stories. Horses are separated, each animal inspected. Young gauchos prove their skills. Older men offer guidance born from lifetimes in the saddle. Dogs, trained from puppyhood to respond to whistles and gestures, move livestock with precision machinery can't match. They dart between animals, nipping heels, guiding movement, obeying commands shouted over wind and bleeding chaos. When the work is done, the feast begins. Asado, Argentine barbecue, not the backyard grilling of cities. This is whole animals over open fires. Lamb or beef slow-cooked for hours. Chinchulins, morcilla, cuts that cities throw away but gauchos consider delicacies. Mate circulates, the bitter herbal tea poured from a shared gourd, passed hand to hand. Drinking mate together is communion. It says, you are trusted, you are family. Stories are told, not recorded, not written, just spoken, passed from old to young. Tales of storms survived, animals lost and found, narrow escapes from death that, in the telling, become comedy. This is culture, not preserved in museums, lived, daily, in the hardest conditions imaginable. Transhumance, the practice of moving herds between seasonal pastures. In Patagonia, it's not optional, it's survival. Summer pastures sit at high elevations, valleys sheltered by mountains where grass grows thick and water flows from snowmelt. Animals fatten there, store reserves for winter. But when autumn arrives, herds must descend. Winter at elevation means death. Snow buries pasture. Temperatures drop too low for survival. Animals that remain die, so gauchos move them. Hundreds of animals driven across kilometers of increasingly hostile terrain. From summer veranada to winter invernada, it's a journey unchanged in centuries. Gauchos on horseback, dogs flanking the herd, supplies carried by pack animals. The pace is slow. Animals can't be rushed without risking injury or loss. They navigate mountain passes before snow makes them impassable. Cross rivers before they freeze solid. Reach lower ground where wind is blocked in grass, though sparse, remains accessible. The journey can take days, sometimes weeks. Every year, some animals are lost, injured, separated, killed by pumas that trail herds looking for stragglers. But most survive, and survival is victory enough. Modern ranchers have tried alternatives. Trucks, helicopters, mechanized transport. None work as reliably as horses, dogs, and human knowledge accumulated over generations. Because the land doesn't care about technology, cares about understanding, about reading weather, about knowing which valleys flood, which slopes avalanche, which routes, invisible to GPS, are the only safe passages. Gauchos know because their grandfathers knew, and their great-grandfathers before them. Knowledge not written, lived. Winter doesn't pause work, it intensifies it. Every morning, herds must be checked, counted, assessed. Animals can freeze overnight, can wander and become trapped in snowdrifts, can fall through ice on ponds that looked solid. Lost animals mean lost wealth, means less food, less wool, less leather, less everything. So gauchos ride out every day, regardless of temperature, regardless of wind, regardless of how much ice has crusted on their beards and how badly their fingers ache despite gloves. They break ice on water troughs. Livestock can survive cold. They can't survive thirst. They distribute hay when snow buries pasture. Fodder stored in summer, precious and finite, stretched as far as it will go. They repair shelters damaged by wind, fences flattened by snowdrifts, gates torn from hinges by gusts that hit with hydraulic force. The work is endless, exhausting, done in isolation often, a single gaucho responsible for valleys so vast it takes hours to ride their perimeter. There are no days off. Animals don't stop needing care because it's Sunday. Storms don't wait for convenient timing. And if something goes wrong, if a gaucho is injured far from help, if a horse breaks a leg, if weather turns lethal with no warning, there's no rescue coming quickly. Self-reliance isn't philosophy, it's requirement. The gaucho who survives is the one who prepares, who reads weather, who knows his limits and his horse's limits and doesn't push past them. Bravery is useful, judgment is essential, and every winter, judgment is tested daily. Guanacos are Patagonia's original inhabitants. Long before cattle, before sheep, before humans crossed land bridges from north to south, guanacos grazed these plains. They look like llamas, wild, untamed, perfectly adapted. Their coats, thick, woolly, colored in shades of brown and cream, shed wind and cold with efficiency evolution refined over millennia. In winter, they cluster in herds, safety in numbers, eyes watching for movement, ears alert for sounds that don't belong. Pumas hunt them, have always hunted them. The relationship is old as the land itself. But humans also hunt them, less now than before, protected by law but still killed occasionally when desperate times demand meat. Guanacos survive through vigilance and speed. They can run at 60 kilometers per hour across terrain that would break a horse's legs. The Andean condor is sky-made bird, 3-meter wingspan, black feathers edged in white, a head bare and reptilian, perfectly adapted for scavenging. Condors don't fly, they soar, riding thermals and wind currents with a mastery that makes human flight look clumsy. In winter, they're easier to spot, dark silhouettes against white mountains, circling high above valleys, scanning for carrion with eyes that can spot death from kilometers away. Patagonia's glaciers are dying, not slowly, rapidly, at rates scientists describe as among the highest on Earth. The northern and southern Patagonian ice fields have lost thousands of cubic kilometers of ice in recent decades. Glaciers that once stretched to valley floors now end hundreds of meters upslope. UPS Glacier retreated 7 kilometers in 30 years. 7 kilometers of ice, millennia in the making. Gone in a single human generation. Why? Warming air melts from above. But that's only part of the story. Warming water melts from below. Glaciers that terminate in lakes and oceans face attack from both sides. Ice calves into water that's grown warmer. Melt accelerates. Feedback loops intensify. The result: glaciers shrinking faster than models predicted. Scientists study them obsessively, measuring thickness, velocity, mass balance, trying to understand how quickly ice sheets will collapse and how much sea level will rise. Patagonia is laboratory. Warning: preview of futures larger ice sheets will experience, and tourists come to see them before they're gone. Boats shuttle visitors to glacier faces. People photograph ice they'll tell children about. I saw it before it disappeared. Tourism contributes to climate change. Flights, cruises, infrastructure. But without tourism, there's no economic incentive to protect. And protection, imperfect as it is, remains better than exploitation. It's complicated, messy, like everything involving humans and nature. Climate change in Patagonia doesn't announce itself with hurricanes or floods. It arrives as unpredictability. Winters that should be cold arrive warm. Snowpack that should accumulate doesn't. Grasslands that should green in spring remain brown. For gauchos, this is catastrophic. Their knowledge, accumulated over lifetimes, assumes patterns. When to move herds, when to plant, when to expect storms. Those patterns are breaking. Rain falls in winter instead of summer. Droughts extend longer than memory holds. Storms strike with intensities never recorded. Animals suffer. Pasture that should sustain them doesn't. Sheep lose weight. Cattle grow weak. Survival rates drop. Some ranchers abandon Patagonia, move to cities, leave behind land their families worked for generations. Patagonia doesn't coddle, it tests. And those who survive learn lessons most of the world has forgotten. Self-reliance isn't ideology, it's necessity. When help is hours or days away, you solve problems yourself. Fix what breaks. Community isn't sentiment, it's survival strategy. Gauchos share labor during La Guerra because no individual can manage alone. Neighbors help each other because next storm, roles might reverse. Nature doesn't negotiate. You adapt to it, or it kills you. There's no middle ground. No compromise. Just the reality that this land existed long before humans and will exist long after. These lessons feel ancient, primordial, truths so basic they seem unnecessary to state. But most of humanity has forgotten them. Modern life insulates. Patagonia offers no insulation. And in that rawness, there's clarity about what matters, about what humans are capable of when comfort isn't guaranteed, about the difference between surviving and thriving in places designed to break the weak. Patagonia's winter is not symbolic, it's literal. Cold that cracks stone, wind that bends trees, snow that buries landscapes for months. But it's also revelation. Revelation about resilience, about beauty born from brutality, about cultures that refuse to surrender despite every rational reason to do so. The gauchos who wake before dawn and ride into wind that burns and check herds in darkness because animals depend on them. They're not heroes. They're doing what must be done, what's always been done. The glaciers that retreat and calve and melt, they're not just ice. They're timekeepers, measuring change in ways statistics can't capture. Guanacos and Pumas and condors that endure, they're not wildlife. They're natives, original inhabitants of a land humans only borrowed. And the land itself, vast, empty, brutal, magnificent. It's not backdrop, it's character, protagonist, the force that shaped everything. Culture, ecology, history. Patagonia in winter asks questions the rest of the world avoids. How much hardship can humans endure? How long can traditions survive when their foundations erode? What happens when the climate that defined a place transforms faster than life can adapt? There are no comfortable answers, but there's honesty here, raw, unfiltered, undeniable. Winter doesn't lie, it reveals. And what Patagonia reveals, in ice and wind, and the eyes of people who refuse to leave despite every hardship, is truth. The truth that humans can endure almost anything. The truth that beauty exists in extremity. The truth that some places resist domestication, no matter how desperately civilization tries. Patagonia will outlast us all. The glaciers may vanish. The gauchos may abandon the steppe. The traditions may fade. But the land remains. Brutal, beautiful, indifferent to human stories, except the ones carved deep enough to matter. And winter, relentless, unforgiving, magnificent, will continue to reign. As it always has, as it always will.